and God, it's Gwen Stefani.
What's happening right now? We were just hanging.
We were at the holiday party. And I think that put all the good luck in the air because a few weeks later, here we are together. And you're going to play Coachella and the new song is out.
I can't believe this.
Oh, my God.
I feel like we're in the future and you just don't know what's going to happen next. You really don't know what's going to happen next.
Exactly.
Well, let's talk music.
Yeah, let's talk the new song, Purple Irises. What I want to know, and Booker does as well, is this you just like in your own bubble within your house going, I'm writing this song and I'm going to grab my man to help out? Or is he kind of with you in the beginning of it?
He was nothing to do with it. So I had been writing this record since 2020 and it's like this thing where it's like, I know no one's waiting for new music necessarily. I know that I'm doing it kind of selfishly, stealing these moments away in my life to try to go to the studio. But something in me wanted to write, and every time I was going down this path of like, I'm going to make this like old school reggae record. Like I have a lot of songs, like a lot. But they weren't doing that thing that makes me like listen to them over and over and over, like obsessively until I wrote Purple Irises. And I wrote it here in LA and I was praying on the freeway, like being like, God, please just let me do something good. I was about ready to write with this girl that was like in her 20s. Her name is Nico. And she's a songwriter, but she's also like an alternative like artist.
Yes.
She's very cool. She basically, her mom grew up on No Doubt. So it's like really like a weird, imagine me like getting there, like, who are these people? And then these Swedish guys called Jack and Coke, who they had all written on True Babe, but I'd never written The Room with them. So this is us going to do that. So I'm turning on Orange Grove Street, which is where the studio was, weirdly. Yeah. And Purple Irises comes down from God in my brain. And I was like,
while you're driving.
Right, was I about ready to turn into like
that's weird. That's crazy.
It was so crazy, and it was just the title. Yeah. And in fact, I feel like we started writing this whole song, and then I was like, wait a minute, I have the song, and I went into I had written it down because I voice texted it to myself because I will forget everything. And then we were sitting, a few hours later, we're sitting back listening to the song, like all looking at each other, like we just had a baby. Like this is like the most magical. Not that anything would happen with it, but it was like I knew when I landed this song, I was like, this is me now. Like, this is how I feel like this is how I feel like this is me musically. Everything I was doing was trying to chase something because you always feel like I think you're in competition with your old self, a lot. Like I'm never going to be like Sweet Escape Girl or, the Don't Speak Girl. I'll never be I am those people, but like those were me before.
Yeah, you captured a moment in time with each one of those songs. That's what was happening in your world probably within a few years right there.
Yeah. And at this moment, I felt very like vulnerable, very, very vulnerable going into the studio about everything. Like it was just that point in just that week. You know what I mean? And so I wrote the song and it was about Blake, right? And so I get home, I play him the song. I'm so excited about it. He loves it. And then time really goes by. Because I had this song. It's the first one I wrote, which will now be like on the record that I'm writing, which is I'm done writing it. I have the songs. I just have to record them now.
Wow.
But yeah, so like after this one, I wrote a bunch that kind of go with this one. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So that was the journey. And then I was in the studio just going through all the songs. And I said to J Cash, who I'd been working with, and I said, Blake kind of hinted that he kind of didn't want me to put this song out because he wanted me to like save it, or I was like, I don't know if he wants to hop on it, or so I texted him. I was like, do you want to just come over and like try to hop on this song? But I didn't want to ask him because it's like I don't want him to think I'm like trying to. Because everyone asked him to be on their songs, like it's of course, you know. But it's also a weird ask because it's like it's a pop song, so it's like. Was going to come over and like it's a little bit of a weird. I've been on a lot of his songs, but it blends a little easier. You know what I mean? Yeah. So anyways, he came over. At 20 minutes later, he was in the studio. And we're all there. It's like you can imagine like this room. It's like the studio is basically a house. So it's this like tiny little room, and Blake's like towering in. It's like boiling hot in there, and he's like, and we're doing it on a laptop. Like it's literally a laptop. It's like a demo, Yeah. And so. Even after that, I was like, I'm not sure. Is it working?
Oh,
but then we ended up going. I sent it to my dream producer, who is a country producer, Scott Hendricks, and he's
been doing it a very, very long time.
And he's probably had I don't know, 80 to 100 number one radio hits. I mean, this is literally like it doesn't get bigger than him. And I've worked with him a lot with Blake and just been around him. And I'm just in such awe. He's such a weirdo. He's such like a meticulous like artist. Kind of, he has no idea about it. He's just he's the best. I love him. But he could never work with me because he was tied to his job at Warner Brothers. He was an A&R. So 4 days after he retired, we go in the studio, we go to Nashville, we get all live, incredible musicians, like just like the top of the top, just artists, you know, that are at the top of their game. We get in the studio and we record this live, Purple Irises. And we were just like, we don't care what happens. We're doing this right now. And nice. And also, I think that everybody that was in there was like, oh yeah, I was on the Heart tour. We had a show last night. I just rolled up this morning at 5:30 so I could do this today. It was like I had just come in from LA. I was on The Voice, and it just all came together. Yeah. And that was right in December after I saw you.
Right. Oh my gosh.
So
I'm not saying I'm a good luck charm.
I want to say that you are.
Jesus,
I want to say that you are. And thank you for listening to all of my problems that night.
I think it was that one small cocktail.
Remember, you know what? What was like? I feel like John's wife kept bringing me tequila shots, and
That's what it was.
And I was just sipping them.
Right?
I wasn't
As
shooting.
we all were. Yes. I only had one.
And Stryker's very disarming too, right? Like he had to sit there and listen, and next thing you know, you're talking to him for 3 hours.
But I feel like it's also like it was Christmas, and I came to this party like I never go out ever. I went there on my own. Like I got a driver and just got out of the car. I was like, everyone's gonna think that I'm just like waltzing into this party. Like, why am I even here?
Right.
Like, I couldn't even get my kid to go with me. I was like, come with me. I'm going to go to this party.
It was fun. You could go like on those saucers and sleds. They brought in snow.
Thank God I didn't get on that.
I know. I didn't do that. It's crazy. Go ahead, Booker.
So, back to the song for a second. When somebody, you said you had a good producer and everything, but it's your song, so you had to be the boss. So were there things with your husband you're like, don't really want to do it that way? Did the foot ever have to go down?
Well, that's a good question, actually, because you would think like, I love being in a band with Blake. Like feels like we're in a band, because we like kind of, when we first got together, I really didn't know much about country music. I mean, the first like show I'd ever been to in my life, when my parents picked me up from Girl Scouts and took me on this, like, it was like, okay, me and my parents are going to go see a show at, what was it? Trying to think of the name of the club, but it was up here, and the Palomino Club.
Okay, the Palomino, yes.
And we saw Emmylou Harris. And so like that was like the closest to country, because Emmylou used to like open up for a lot of bluegrass, and my parents used to listen to like bluegrass. Like we would go to the bluegrass festival when we were kids and stuff like that. So, but it wasn't country. So anyways, meeting Blake, like I learned a lot about country music in the last 9 years, but I think that we really landed in a place where we both love 80s, and we both, like, he knows and he's a jukebox. Like, he knows every song, every single title, like who sang it,
I've
the
interviewed
year
him
that it happened.
Yeah.
Like,
he does.
He's a genius.
And he'll sit, and I'm from the South too, so we'll sit and we'll get into it. We'll be into like jukebox songs. He really is like, we'll start with like, oh, Great White. He's like, I love that. Let's talk about Cinderella. He knows hair bands, rock bands,
he knows everything.
Country bands. Like, he is really rounded when it comes to music.
We used to do a thing with him. Me and my brother, when we first met him, we'd be like, okay, we're going to play you country songs, and we're going to just find the weirdest ones that we've never, obviously we don't know any of them, but we're going to play like you 5 seconds, like not even 5 seconds. And we would just put it on, and within like a second, he'd know the name, who wrote it, what year it came out, and you're just like, okay, you're the freak of life.
He is. He's impressive. He talking music with. He's really fun.
Yeah, but the other lane that we both like we would play this game together when we met is yacht rock, right? Which that time period.
Yes.
So like, because that's what I grew up on, and that's, everybody would be like, oh, you're so punk rock, da da da. I was like, well, okay, but like Bread is my favorite band. Okay, so you know what I mean? Like, because I did love ska, and I was in 8th grade when I discovered that music, but I also was a person before that grew up in the back of the station wagon going to church, listening to this music that was being played, that we all love so much.
But when did you decide you were going to do all of them? I mean, you've had these careers. I mean, you're walking up and down the halls of iHeart. You're going in literally every station. You've had music with Eve. You could be on the hip hop station. You've had country music. You've had all different types of music. Was there ever a bulb day where you said, you know what? I just don't want to be in just a rock band. I want to do it all. Was that a moment, or does it just happen?
I think every idea that's ever come to me has been right from God. Like, I truly know that that's the truth, because I would never be able to think some of this stuff up. You know what I mean? And usually, like, just like the Purple Iris thing, it's just there. Like, I'll just wake up and be like, I know what I'm wearing tomorrow. Like, it's like, I'm going to wear, a blue fur triangle bra and put like diamonds on my head and put, you know what I mean? And next thing I know, like, it's a Halloween costume. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like me, you know what I mean? I just feel like I'm part of, like, because I pray that, like, I will be guided to what I'm supposed to be doing next, and I think I've always been like that. Like, I've always done that. And I think the longer that I was alive, the more I realized that's what was doing it. And so that faith part of it is really real for me. And I think that with me and Blake, like, we just landed in this place where we were such in love with this kind of music, and we would fantasize. I would always say to Blake, like, Blake started out as a songwriter, right? Like, that's what he used to go be paid to just write songs, like, before he was anybody. And then I think he really, over the years, like, when you're as huge as he is, when all of Nashville is writing you these with the best writers in the whole world, like, he gets these incredible songs, and I would be so jealous. Like, I'd be like, wow, like, 'cause he would play me these songs, and they would be like Nobody But You is a song that I hopped on with him. And, again, like, you asked me, like, what genre, like, I would never, ever think I would be on a Blake Shelton song in my life. Like, the first time I heard his voice, when I met him on The Voice, and they were like, okay, you guys are going to do each other's song. Like, you're going to sing, you pick a song of Blake's. Adam's going to do, we were all trading songs, and it was like the intro thing. And I didn't know anybody. Like, I barely knew Adam. And I was like, hey, let me listen to some Blake songs. I didn't know one of his songs. I didn't even know who he was. So I like listened through, and I was like, all of the songs, I was like, he was like, his voice was so jarring to me. Do you know what I mean? Because it was so extreme. Like, it sounded like I was at Knott's Berry Farm. I was like, what's happening, But the more that I got to know his body of work, it was like, wow, this guy is like, and his actual voice is so unbelievably, especially being on The Voice now, I don't know how many seasons I've been on there, but he is incredibly gifted. And so we both love this music, and we would listen to yacht rock, and we would I would fantasize more. I'd be like, come on, we got to write this like yacht rock record together. Like, we're going to do a duets record, and then we'll go on tour. And he's like, I'm done with life. Like, I just want to watch football. Let's cook some sausage balls or whatever he makes. Ribs. I don't know. He's like, whatever. And I'm like, okay, so anyways, when I did this, and I sent it to Scott Hendricks, and he was like, he wrote me back, I think it was like Labor Day weekend or something. And I was like, oh my God, Scott Hendricks just wrote me. He's like, I can't stop listening to this song. And I was just like, I literally have goosebumps right now thinking about it. Like, because I idolize him, you know what I mean? And the fact he said that, and then it all happened in December. So here we are talking about it. What?
Last couple quick things, because we're almost out of time.
No,
and it has
so fun
okay, well, let's keep going. It has to do with collaborations. And there's two songs in particular. The first day I ever heard them, I love them. And in 2024, I love them just as much. You and Bradley Knoll saw red.
What? Really?
I saw red. Can you let everybody know what he was like as a talent and as a person?
Yes. I did not know him well. Just everybody thinks we were like best homies. Yeah. But the way I met Bradley was Tony and I would get like, cause we were in a, we were pretty big in this like really small pond, right? Yeah. And people would send us their demos like to open for us, or like, somehow they would send them to Tony because he was like the manager or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was always with him. So we would listen to these they were cassette tapes, and we get this cassette tape, and it was sublime. And we would not stop listening to it. I didn't know, I thought Bradley was like African American. Like, I didn't know what he looked like. I didn't know. It was just such a weird mixture of sounds, because he had like, it was kind of hip hop, but then it had like reggae, and it was like his soul singing, but it was like so like amazing voice. So when we found out who they were, like, we went to go see them, and it was like, oh my gosh, that's Bradley. So by that point, I was already a fan. You know what I mean? So like, to be around him, I was starstruck. I couldn't like talk to him, but he also had that thing that certain people have, where it's like almost like a glow. Like, it's like he was super talented and special and weird and like sweet, and like I just couldn't even like speak around him, because I was so like, I was such a fan, you know. He was always so kind and sweet, and you know, I think I had like a major crush on him. And but Saw Red, when they asked me to do that song, I was so naive and just went in the studio, and it was like they didn't even have a click track. I mean, the thing is all over. I couldn't even sing along to it. It was so out of time. Do you know what I mean?
Wow. Yeah.
And I just sang that verse. Who knew it would end up being like people talk about it.
I've listened to that song a million times in my life, probably.
I love him.
I love singing your part. I love singing his part. You guys are going back and forth.
And now his son is singing.
That's
Jacob.
so crazy.
Jacob.
So
That is
crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
I know.
Since we're reminiscing, I mean, the band's back together for at least a show.
2 shows.
I mean,
Coachella's 2 shows.
well, a concert. Talk on that a little bit.
Oh my
How
God.
did that come down? Are you excited? What's the feel?
It's just weird because Stryker and we were just talking about this at Christmas time, and the fact that it all came together now it's truly a miracle. And I know that like it's gonna be. We haven't even hung out yet. Like we just got on a Zoom together. We texted last week, one like little quick thing, but I know what's going to happen. Like I know I'm going to get on stage with those guys and just start busting up laughing because it's so funny. Like just like I am looking at you guys. Like we're in the future right now. How are we still alive? Like we're so blessed. And to be able, we've never done Coachella. We haven't played together in forever, and so much has happened. Our kids are grown. Like it's going to be epic. It's going to be a miracle. And I think the biggest, most exciting part is seeing the reaction of everybody else being so excited is getting me so fired up. I can't wait to slap everybody around. Like it is going to be like, because that's the one thing No Doubt has that I feel like nobody well, I mean, of course there's people that have it, but like the live show thing, like it's like I gotta make sure I start doing my sit-ups and squats like tomorrow. Like,
are you gonna do push-ups for just a girl?
I
gotta
on start doing my push-ups. Like, oh my God, that's a good question. I better start working
just
out.
a girl Coachella, and it's like, there you go.
Oh my God, so much pressure.
No, it's not pressure. What song are you looking most likely to sing with No Doubt at Coachella? Is there one that, like, as time has passed, it's become one of your favorites?
One song that I might have to like, I already got the set list because I said, you guys just decide what is the ones that we're going to do, you know?
Okay.
And so I need to like relearn like some of these songs. Like, but I think, the first song I ever wrote in my entire life is a song called Different People, which I look at it now and it's like not cringy to me, but it's like, it's that little like innocent girl, like I don't even know again how it happened because I never wrote a song in my entire life, and then I wrote this song and that would be cool to do that song because it just would be so symbolic of like you know what I mean, like how things happen in life. And but I kind of wish we could do Rocksteady too, which you know that would be amazing, but I don't know if we're doing that one. But can we do that one, Tony?
Rocksteady.
I think he'll be fine with it. I don't think he'll have a problem, right?
Do we know what day you're playing, or you can't reveal that yet?
Oh no, the dates are out, right?
But are you doing Friday, Saturday, or Sunday?
Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say. Am I? Hello? Nobody's here. I don't want to blow it.
Okay,
like,
I'm
the one that blows everything. I'm
Wink once if it's Friday.
Listen,
okay,
don't
do it. Sorry.
ruin this for everybody.
Oh my God, can you imagine? They're like, you blew it. You're off the show.
We're not saying anything. Sorry. Moving on, Booker. Go ahead and close it out, buddy. Whatever you want. I can't believe you're the best. I'm so excited to see you.
Thank you. I've had so much fun being in this building today, honestly. And so unexpected. And so incredible to have new music and be with my best friend. Like, I mean, just again, like what?
It's been such a journey. I mean, I'm sitting here listening to you talk. I had the band on. I just remembered this while we were talking. On 120 Minutes, a show I hosted on MTV.
Oh my gosh.
And you guys were partying all night because I think you just got your first #1 record. It was like literally the day
I wasn't
after.
there. I wasn't there because you want to know what happened to me the first time we got our #1 record?
Well,
I partied for the first time.
But I believe
I might have been there, but I wasn't there.
Well, that's what I mean. No one was. Everyone was so.
Was it in New York?
It was in New York.
Yeah.
It was in Times Square, and everybody showed up, and everybody was still
disgusting.
Hammered. And
Okay.
it was like 8 in the morning.
You know what happened so that day we were in the hotel and they were like they were going to have a #1 party for us at some like cool New York club.
I was there and stood next to you while you were on the phone with somebody. I remember you being on the phone and getting the news. That was the night before the interview the next morning. I went home. I don't think No Doubt did.
Oh, no.
I don't think No Doubt did.
I went home.
Did?
Yeah, because what happened was I went down from my hotel room. The guys had already gone. I went to the bar with the roadies, right, at the time that we had. And I was like, oh, my God, like, we should just – I was like – they were like, come on, we should do a tequila shot. I was like, I never drink because I couldn't drink and do those shows. Like, I just wasn't a drinker, but they were. Yeah. So I did a shot and I was sitting there. I was like, oh my gosh, I know why they do this. This is so fun. And I was like doing like the shots. And then we get to the place and the security guard had me. I was so drunk, and I never drink. They walked me through like a horseshoe, like shh, and walked me back into the car, put me in the car, put me in my hotel room. I barfed in the toilet, like not the toilet, but in the bathtub the entire night.
Really?
So when I saw you I don't remember that.
I'm telling you, you were on the phone and you're right. You were in that party for maybe 5 to 10 minutes. I remember it was like downtown. You were wearing red, something that was sort of sheer. I kind of remembered all of that. It's like coming back to me. Jeez, I have the worst memory, but I remember that.
I have the worst memory. I don't remember anything, but I do remember what a horrible drinking experience.
Well, I remember 120
Children,
the
do
next
not
morning.
drink ever. It's
You're
the
a
worst
1.5 tequila shot person. That, based on me knowing you a little bit and from that,
that's true.
You are at the uber perfect number. Just like
1.5 is a good one.
Yeah,
good.
1.5.
All right, we've taken enough of your time.
Yes, we have.
Oh my God,
Congratulations on getting this out into the world.
Thank you for all these years of music, and I'm so happy for you guys.
We're thanking you for that. We didn't do anything. We just said, here's No Doubt, or here's Gwen Stefani, or here's Gwen Stefani with Blake Shelton. That's all literally we've ever done.
Well,
and been cheerleaders
love
of you.
So much. This is so weird. Thank you, God.
Congrats on everything, and
thank you.
Thanks for hanging out with us, Booker and Stryker.
Gwen Stefani, everybody.
Love you guys.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me,